Hello guys, welcome to my Minecraft video. Today we'll be talking about Section 2 of Canadian Charter Rights and Freedoms, Fundamental Freedoms. These freedoms are an essential part of our democratic society today. They protect individuals from unjust and unfair government interference, as well as ensuring that everyone in Canada has the ability to express themselves freely, among other freedoms. The four main fundamental freedoms are freedom of conscience and religion, freedom of thought, belief, opinion, and expression, freedom of peaceful assembly, and freedom of association. Now, let's go through each fundamental freedom in more depth, while us going through each freedom's respective case study.
Freedom of conscience and religion. This freedom protects your right to hold and practice any religious belief, or no belief at all. It masks your right to worship, teach, and observe religious practices, as well as allowing you not to be forced into acting against your beliefs. An example of a case study would be the Big M Drug Mart, 1985. In the case of this pharmacy in Calgary, they were charged for keeping their doors open for business on a Sunday, which was considered the Lord's Day. This law required all businesses to shut down on Sundays, which violated the choice of religious freedom the people of Canada had. Shortly after, the Supreme Court of Canada agreed it wasn't beneficial to Canada as a whole and showed unconstitutional implications. They agreed that a law with religious purpose could not be permitted in a free and democratic society. Freedom of thought, belief, opinion, and expression. This freedom protects your right to express your ideas and opinions publicly and privately, even if they are genuinely unpopular beliefs. It included all forms of expression, such as speech, literature, art, protest, and even online communication. However, this freedom has limitations. It prohibits expression that is in any way violent, hateful, or violates the right of others. The case study for this one is Keekstra, 1990. James Keekstra, a high school teacher in Alberta, taught his students that Jewish people were inherently evil and denied the Holocaust's existence. He was then charged with willfully promoting hatred against a group of people. Now, did this violate the freedom of expression in accordance with Keekstra? According to the Supreme Court, hate speech is indeed a form of expression. Limiting it was justified, however. The goal of preventing serious harm to targeted groups heavily outweighed Keekstra's right to express himself in an act of hatred. Freedom of peaceful assembly. This freedom protects your right to gather peacefully in groups for protests, rallies, or demonstrations publicly. The key word to bring out here is peaceful. Violent assemblies were not held justifiable under this fundamental freedom. A case study that roughly envelops this is Stewart versus the Toronto Police Services in 2020. Before the G20 summit in Toronto, police set up a general perimeter around a public park where protesters were gathering. They restricted entry without the proper legal authorization. The question is, were the police justified in their actions of closing the park during a peaceful assembly? The Ontario Court of Appeals ruled that the police actions on the public park were in fact non-justifiable. Officers cannot impose conditions on entry to public spaces without the proper legal authorization from higher authorities.
Section 4, Freedom of Association. This freedom protects the right groups to form, join, and maintain organizations, such as unions, political parties, or cultural groups. It also includes the right to take part in union activities and work collectively for common goals. A case study which matches this fundamental freedom is Dunmore versus Ontario in 2001. In this case, Ontario's Labour Relations Act excluded agricultural workers from unionizing and from other labor protections. This legal issue is held in this relation to did the exclusion violate the farmers' freedom of association? According to the Supreme Court, yes, excluding farm workers from the basic freedom of association infringe their basic rights, and the court said that the government has a positive duty to protect the rights of vulnerable groups, not just avoid interfering with them in general. Conclusion. While these freedoms are guaranteed in the Charter, they are not exactly absolute. Sometimes limits can be placed on them, but only if those limits are reasonable quality and can be justified in a free, democratic society. Courts often use something called Oakes test to decide when a limit is justified. Overall, these four fundamental freedoms of religion, expression, assembly, and association form the foundation of our rights as Canadians. They ensure our voices, beliefs, and communities can thrive without the fear of unjust and unfair government interference. Thank you for watching our Minecraft video, and I'll see you guys in the next video.